Welcome to Disability. I'm Joy, and I've got a lovely whole body, low impact interval training session for you today. All you'll need for this program is a chair that allows for movement. Typically, a dining chair with a minimal back or folding chair works best. You might also want to have a workout mat to help keep your chair from sliding around and to reduce the impact of the workout even further. Brief audio descriptions will be provided at the start of each move for those in the community who are visually impaired. I haven't added any music to the background for the workout, so feel free to put on your favorite tunes, grab a bottle of water, and let's get started. Okay, we're starting with that 2 minutes of warm-up. Warm-ups are so important to ease into exercise or movement. We're starting with 1 minute of a gentle march in place while seated in the chair. Sitting at the edge of the chair feels most natural for me, but you can experiment with sitting further back or further forward. If you've got some extra energy to spend, feel free to stand. These movements are just an offering. Modify them in any way that works for you. If you have questions about how to modify, drop it in the comments and I'll try to cover these in future videos. Okay, next warm-up move is to stir the pot or to stir the cauldron, your choice. And this move also goes for 1 minute before we get into that pattern of 30 seconds work, 30 seconds rest. We're stirring the pot here, so imagine holding onto a huge spoon. Hands can be interlaced in front or palm clasped over fist. You're using your core to rotate around in big circles, maybe small circles. You'll notice me modifying these moves throughout the workout to make them more or less challenging. You're going to switch direction halfway through or alternate. It's totally up to you. Here's our first 30 seconds of movement, high knee rope climbs. Imagine there's a rope hanging from the ceiling. Grab with one hand and pull down while you lift the same or opposite leg in a climbing motion. The whole point here really is to just get both the arms and the legs moving together as best you can. You can see it's a little bit of a difficulty for me here. That's part of having MS, but it's always good to work on it. All right, take a break, grab a drink of water. You get 30 seconds of rest here. Take some deep breaths. I'm inhaling through the nose, pushing air out through pursed lips to help regulate my breathing. Before we move on to the next exercise, which will be lateral floor touches. Shake it off if you need it. Here we go. I've opened my legs a little wider here. I'm reaching my right hand up and keeping my right leg straight and reaching for my left knee as I bend down towards my left toes. So opposite arm to opposite toes, and I'm switching sides. I'm starting out with a little bit less intense of a movement here to ease into the workout today. All right, take that well-earned rest. Breathe it out, shake it off. Do what you need to do. Small sips of water. Get yourself ready for the front kicks, which are coming next. This exercise hits up the front of the legs, the quads. You're just alternating, kicking forward. Your toes can be pointed, your foot can be flexed. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever is pain-free for you. And again, we've got 30 seconds here that we're going with this move before we take that 30 seconds of rest. Okay, rest time. I'm just kicking out my legs, shaking them out. I get that ant crawling all up my body feeling when I move, especially when it's hot. And if you need to ask your partner for a hair tie, that's what I'm doing here and telling him where it is. Always depend on the support of our partners. Okay, here we are ready for those front punches. So we're just seated with our feet flat on the floor, and you can see I'm punching my arms forward in a nice controlled motion and just bringing my hands back up towards my face to make sure that I'm really working the upper body and that I'm really moving from the core. You can see this kind of hits up my obliques or the side of my body as well. I'm feeling big energy today. All right, looks like we have that hair clip. Awesome. And my computer keeps falling asleep. I sort that out in future videos, but for now, I have to keep waking it up for this set of videos. We're still on our rest break. You can watch the shenanigans here or just close your eyes, zone out, and wait for our final move in our sequence, which will be clap unders, which really work more of that core. Here we go. I'm seated. Obviously, my dog was there in the way, so I started off real gentle. So Loki didn't get involved, but I'm just lifting my knee towards my chest and touching my hands underneath my thigh, really thinking about crunching that core. And then bigger arms, what is this, kind of thriller-esque arms, bird arms maybe, really touching underneath that thigh. I'm really getting a big core movement and upper body movement with that as well. And here we are, time for a rest. And I've provided that timer on the screen, so feel free to watch the timer and rest, even though I might be still talking about the exercise. Or if you hear the ding, that it marks a transition as well. Feel free to stop while I continue to talk. So I'm just resting here, getting myself adjusted, and back to those rope climbs with high knees, where we're imagining that rope hanging down, opposite arm, opposite leg, like we're really climbing up a rope. And you can see I've slowed down just a little bit here, trying to regulate how much energy I'm using so I have plenty left for the rest of my day. Here we are, just resting before we head back to those lateral floor touches, taking some deep breaths. Maybe grab a sip of water if you need it. Letting your heart rate come down from all the work you've just done. Back to the lateral floor touches. Now I'm showing here my legs more close together and both knees bent, where I'm just reaching opposite arm to the opposite outside part of my foot. And here I go. Here's the full big movement, or I guess a little bit more of the movement, and here's the full big movement, right? So you decide, how big do you want this move? How much energy do you have? And rest. Here we go. It's pretty hot in London on the day that I'm filming this, so I had to get that hair clip back, and my dog is very interested in what Mummy is doing. So if you have a pet, give them a cuddle. Let them know they're a good boy or girl. And we're back to those front kicks. My hands are on my sides, just helping me stabilize. And I'm kicking forward, being sure not to hyperextend my leg. There's always a slight bend in the knee. And I'm alternating between pointing my toes and kind of kicking out through my foot, the base of my foot, with my foot flexed. Again, it doesn't matter. Both are movement. And back to rest. I always get annoyed in workout videos when the presenter or instructor keeps going and talking and makes you do like 10 extra seconds, because I'm done. I committed to 30 seconds of movement. I don't care if you have more to say. I need to stop and take a break. You do the same for me. I now understand how hard it is to keep talking or to stop talking on time. Here we go. We're going back to those front punches. We're seated, we're punching forward, trying to keep those hands up towards our face, and you're really trying to rotate from the core on these. Again, only go so fast as you can control. Don't get wild and out of control here. Control the movement. We're not actually going to punch anyone. So don't be terribly worried about form so long as it's pain-free. And shake it out. Anyway, I'm leaving in my shakeouts so you can see how strange and silly it looks to shake it out, especially when you've got your nervous system firing all sorts of weird signals throughout your body. But hey, that's what we live with. I'm in it with you. Take that rest. Okay, we've got clap unders again. You're really thinking about the core here. Having good core stability is so important for general health and wellness. I will never tell you we're doing an ab blaster, or the least of my concerns is my weight. My biggest concern is making sure that I can move for as long as possible and do the things I want to do. Take a rest. Having good core stability will help me stay safe. As I age, it will help me in reducing my falls. It will keep me mobile for as long as possible. And that's really what we want, to move so that we can do what we want to do. Okay, we're about to go back to the beginning. We're back at that high knee rope climb. I'm pulling a rope and I'm working same side of the body now because my MS brain just has some difficulty with cross-body movement sometime, and that's another reason that's more important than any sort of weight loss, is being able to keep those centers of the brain that we have that are still healthy firing as best as they can. Take a rest. We're resting now, and I do want to mention, before my diagnosis, it felt like my body used to obey, but since being diagnosed with MS and as my disease has progressed, some days I feel like I'm just offering my body suggestions, and it does what it wants. That's all right. We'll take a rest now. We're just doing our best with what we've got. All right, those lateral floor touches. Going big on this one to start with, but I've slowed my pace down, and you can see I'm using my opposite hand to really help support my trunk as I come down. So I'm just offering you different ways to do these movements that honor however your body showed up for this movement practice today. Back to rest. Shake it out if you've got those weird neurological things, those paresthesias for the fancy words. A fancy word for my body is full of static or ant crawling sensations that make me feel gross. Shake them out. Do what you need to do. There's no judgment here. I feel it too. All right, last bit of our front kicks. You can see that I'm not quite kicking as high. My left side is a little bit more impacted than my right. Story of my MS journey. But that's okay. You do what you can with each side. You don't have to have a perfect balanced body. Take a rest. That was my reminder that those cardio punches are coming up next, our last set there. I feel like I should smile more in this, but in all honesty, not super feeling like smiling. I'm focusing on breathing in through the nose and pushing air out through the mouth. So like smelling a flower, blowing out a candle. That's the vibe right now. Here we go, cardio punches. Again, I know I'm calling this the upper body move for this workout, but let's face it, it's a core move too. So try and think about that rotation as you punch forward. Whether thumb is in the palm or out of the palm, I'm not here to teach you to fight. It's just a cool move, so hold your hands in whatever way you feel works best for you. All right, sips of water. I feel it's much better to take sips of water regularly throughout the day instead of going for big chugs of water. But again, yep. Hey, wake up. I do sort this out later. I've filmed several videos, just now getting to the voiceover, so this will get sorted, no worries. This is a no worries movement program. I hate calling it a workout. So much baggage with that term, especially for me. Having previously been a personal trainer before I became an occupational therapist and really feeling like there wasn't a space for me in the fitness world, especially upon my diagnosis. All right, enough of that. Clap unders. You saw me start it. You heard the chime. We're doing those clap unders. Best you can. I record these workouts a couple in a day, and the next day, I'm out. So, perfect segue into this rest here. I'm shaking it out. And that's part of the gig, right? We know that when we move, we're going to need rest. And so I plan for a rest day afterwards. And don't let people judge the rest you need. They don't live in your body, you live in your body. You get to make those choices for yourself. All right, cool down, our favorite parts, 2 minutes. Here I'm doing a seated pigeon, so I'm just bringing my opposite ankle to the top of my opposite knee, and I'm leaning forward, feeling a lovely stretch in the side of my hip. And we'll hold this for about 30 seconds before switching sides. Okay. Go ahead, I'm just switching opposite ankle to opposite knee, doing a deep inhale in, getting a nice straight back, and I'm folding forward. I can feel that stretch on the outside of my thigh. If you have areas that you need to stretch more so than what I'm showing you now, you do that. Do what your body needs for it today. You don't have to follow me in everything. All right, final cool down move. I've gone back a little bit further in my chair, inhaling my arms above my head, and then I'm just doing a seated spinal twist, using one hand to stabilize myself on the back of my chair, other hand on the outside of my thigh. You know that you've pushed to a good level in this twist when you can inhale, create more space, exhale, sink down. Let's switch sides here. So imagine yourself inhaling, creating that space, exhaling, sinking down into it. If you just feel constricted, like you can't breathe, it's too much, too hard, too pushy. Back it off a little. Take it easy. Take a deep breath. We're done. Thanks for moving with me today. I hope to see you again soon. Ignore that weird wave thing. I don't know what that was about. If you have any requests or video ideas, please drop them in the comments and I'll add them to my list for future videos.